So, have a question for you today. That person that's inside of you, do you want to become her? Or do you have a vision about who you want to become, but yet there's something inside of you that's holding you back? Do you want to feel empowered and love absolutely who you are, but you struggle with it and you perhaps think you don't deserve it? If any of those questions has rung a bell inside and caused a fire to start burning inside, that is what myself and my guests are going to be speaking about today. So with me today I have Nadia. You're going to love our conversation, and remember, it's for you to help you feel empowered and to value who you are. So welcome, 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 Nadia. How are you?
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Yeah, very happy, excited.
Excited. Yes, I love it. And our listeners, they always ask me, where's your guest? Where are they from? So can you tell everyone, please, where you are from?
Yes, well, where I'm from is a is a
Sorry.
question I'm always struggling with. So let's
Yeah.
say originally from France. My parents are from former Yugoslavia. I was born in France. I lived in Scotland, lived in Russia, and I've been loving Dublin, Ireland since 2017.
Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. So a little bit of a traveler, and no, I'll say on a journey, right? Which is really fits
Yes.
well into the conversation that we're going to have today. So I'd love to know, a little bit about you, and is there a certain message in your own journey that you heard and you want to share today?
Yes. Well, empowerment is the word that comes to me because for years, and I will just share this, for years I've actually lived in my own shadow, not even like other people's shadow. It was my own shadow. Well, leave alone society and other people trying to make us fit in a box that is too narrow for us anyway. But I think I lived a lot of people talk about the imposter syndrome, but me, I will just talk about the fact that I lived an imposter life. So I lived a life that was not me at all. So that's why I always say I lived an imposter life and I lived in a shadow. I've actually created, and I managed to believe in the image I created of
Yeah.
who I thought I was. And I really tried to adhere to the image, and really, I was even pushing myself to see why you're not happy, Nadia. What is wrong with you? Why this is the perfect you, this is the you. So I've actually created this myth in my mind of who I was supposed to be. So the message I really want to share is it's never too late to really find who you're supposed to become. And my other message is who you're supposed to become is a journey, it's a process. To me, I don't feel it's not a destination. It's really enjoying the journey of becoming who you were always supposed to become. That's really a powerful message I would like to share with your audience today.
Yeah, it's so true. It's the word that I use all the time too. It is a journey, right? It's these baby steps we take every day on this journey, and there's going to be ups and downs, and you're going to hear, different messages internally, or maybe, messages you're hearing around, or maybe you feel you should be more like this, but it's that inside, right? That powerful journey that is inside that allows you to take ultimately this step in just loving that exact person who you are and being who you want to be through and through. And with that message there, as far as how do you apply it, Nadia, to working specifically with women right now?
Now, I am a hypnotherapist and a mind coach as well as psychic medium. So I basically blend everything that I've learned and have applied to myself, because before becoming a hypnotherapist, or like coming out of the closet as a psychic medium, all this I experienced on myself. So hypnotherapy, after I was severely ill a couple of years ago, I had some brain injuries and brain tumors, basically. I had surgeries. And when I survived, I promised to myself that I would just get my act together and really go on the journey of discovering who am I? Who am I? And I've tried hypnotherapy, and that has changed my life for me anyway. And I really gave me this passion of empowering people through their mind. In a nutshell, really, how can I help people feel empowered by changing their thoughts, which then will change their feelings and ultimately change their behaviors. And I mainly work with women as well. I do have some male clients, but my audience are like female. So this is really what I apply on a daily basis, what I've experienced. And the issues I work with are also the ones I've experienced.
Yeah. And there's something that really jumped out at me, and I heard, it was through my own I'll say traumatic experience or my own healing I had to do. And I hear that from so many guests, including myself. It was, after being in an 8-year relationship when I was younger and, being sometimes verbally abused. And then it was kind of, okay, I'm ending this relationship. And I finally had to seek, and I'm hearing it from you too, I had to seek what I needed to do to help me heal, right? And the same with you, with your brain tumors. You had to seek a way to
Absolutely.
find healing to occur. And through that healing, it's like this shadow was lifted, and you found out and you discovered who you are, what you want, who deserves to even have you, right? And
Correct.
it's yeah. And it's amazing how, a lot of times maybe you heard it too deeply or inside, but you always silenced it. And then was finally through something dramatic that is like, okay, I'm opening that door now. So I love how, you pointed that out as well, that we can all heal. It's making the choice to allow ourselves to heal and to do what we need to do to love who we
Absolutely.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, for myself, I've suffered from terrible, like people who know me today would really be surprised. I've suffered terrible self-esteem issues. Not as such confidence, it was really self-esteem, because confidence, you can kind of fake it. But
Yeah.
it was really that love of self. I really like, for years, I had to, to be validated, to be loved. And my relationships were based on codependency. I needed to be needed, that validation, because I wasn't enough. Really,
Yeah.
I wasn't enough to me, and I couldn't be enough to other people. So after this wake-up call, this, health issues, I really took this as a wake-up call and worked on that healing journey, and understood as well, just what you said, Tanya, that you have to want to heal as well. Because with the work, we do as coaches, as empowerment specialists, we help people help themselves. So you can't force people. So you really have, I always say this to everybody actually I meet, you have to have this willingness to heal, to
Yeah.
move forward, to really get to know who you are. And people always get surprised when the first question asked before we do anything is, who are you? Go and have a look at who are you. And people stare at me and say, she's mad. But because I think we don't know all the time,
Yeah.
maybe very well, who we are. We define ourselves by, jobs, careers, how people define us. And again, goes back to that love of self,
Mhm.
because we don't really want to praise ourselves. We don't want to take compliments. We don't want to really go within and say, oh, I love who I am. I love the little girl inside.
Yeah.
She's still there.
Yeah.
And then we kind of, it's not just dimming our light, but we just try to no, to silence who we are.
Yeah.
That's really how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so true. And part of that healing, part of that self-empowerment, part of that journey all comes down to self-care, doing things for
Yeah.
yourself, caring for who you are, and nurturing your body, your soul, your mind. And how do you yourself, Nadia, ensure that self-care is a part of your like daily routine, is daily habits, a
Yeah.
part of your lifestyle?
Now I have the I love this question. No, I did, no, because I'm a very, very honest person, and I did struggle for years, even after, coming to Ireland, understanding what I wanted to do. I've started working with people, and I saw amazing results on people, but I couldn't apply, I couldn't practice what I preached.
Yeah.
So this is where I realized, hang on, there is something wrong here, woman. And I said, you can't go on like this. So what actually helped me is working with the people I was working with, because they helped me as well. They were part of my self-care toolkit. Because, in theory, I had all well, you need to do this, you need to feed your body right, you
Yeah.
need to exercise. But I couldn't apply it to myself because I was too busy. I always say I was suffering from hurry sickness, never have time to eat properly,
Yeah.
don't have time to exercise. And then I realized that I can't operate anyway and be happy and help other people if I'm not taking care of my own self.
Mhm.
When we say you can't pour from an empty cup, at the
Yeah.
beginning, I was pouring from an empty cup. So that
Yeah.
brought me back to reality that if I wanted to raise awareness, which is very important, I had to start with myself. So
Nice.
I just brought, it was a bit of a reality check, really.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful, right? I see it as you're helping other people, but at the same time, they were helping you because
Absolutely.
it was like that mirror. You saw how your abilities were helping them shift. And then it kind of goes full circle, right? You
Yes,
saw the change in them as like, okay, wait, I need to apply that to myself now too. Because again, I can't keep on giving and giving and giving all of myself or giving what I have to offer because you need to keep yourself for yourself too, right?
absolutely.
And then realizing, okay, I need to do full circle and it becomes how do we say it? It becomes this beautiful light, right? That just it radiates from you, it radiates to others, and then it comes back again. So very
Yeah.
nice, very nice. And then is that something that helps you get up in the morning too? Because there's days, we wake up and it's like, oh, we don't all wake up with ready to take on the day, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, okay, I need to get out of the bed. Like this morning, it's like, I'm tired. It's like, nope, I'm gonna get out of bed. And there was something inside of me. What gets you motivated to get up every morning, or those mornings where it's like, oh, I'd rather
Well,
be in
just
bed.
I think again a very relevant question. Actually, again another question I love is just the knowledge. Now, the knowledge that I will make a difference in someone's life in some way. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter which way,
yeah,
because that's the empowerment that we talk about is. It doesn't matter how you can empower people, but it's the idea that right, get up, you have to make a difference. You have to contribute to the world, well-being, happiness, whoever it can be. It could be going to the supermarket and, making someone's day. It could be. So that's really what drives me in the morning. And I've promised to myself, that's an ongoing process. I use a lot of NLP in my own way of talking to myself, which is when I get up in the morning, I used to say, oh, I'm tired. The alarm clock rings. I'm tired. Hit the snooze button. And I just changed and shifted the language.
yeah,
And right, everything is working out for me. The day is great.
yeah,
There will be amazing things happening. I know it's not wishful thinking. It's just reprogramming my own mind and knowing now, get out there. There is a lot of work to be done. And the world needs you really. And the world needs everybody. So that's what motivates me on a daily basis to get up.
nice,
And my
very
cat as
nice.
well. But she
Oh,
wants to
very,
eat. So.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's days where we might have a struggle, but we get through it. And
Yeah.
I believe that all of us do face a really big challenge. It's just part of our life, right? Whether it's two challenges, whether it's one challenge, and we take it on and we get through it, I'll say, and we still survive, and then another challenge. So I'm going to rephrase, and I'm going to say, you yourself, Nadia, not pertaining to any people you work with, but if I
Yeah.
were to say, Nadia, what's Nadia's biggest challenge right now?
I think this is gonna sound strange, but well, believing in myself really, because I knowing is one thing,
Mhm.
but sometimes the biggest challenge is to actually really believe in myself, in
Yeah,
what I can achieve for me as well. Not, as you said,
yeah,
leave alone everything else, but believe in, because when you work with people, it is, you create healing, you help people, but then it is also a way to kind of forget about our own selves. And it's my biggest challenge is put myself back in the center of my own life and not trying to fix everything around me. So that's my biggest challenge, genuinely.
yeah,
Stop trying to fix everything. Come back to yourself, because
yeah,
first, don't escape yourself.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. It is a very, very real challenge because and I find that those of us that are healers or mentors for other people, right? And I think it goes back to, maybe it goes back to childhood, whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes through our own traumas. Because, my own story too, I was, beautiful. I grew up in a beautiful home, but I was still bullied as a child, right? I was that quiet, shy child, so good target. And then in high school, I was bullied my first 2 years as well. Then I had, in my 20s, was an 8-year relationship that, again, what I said was sometimes verbally abusive. And all that is inside of us, right? And it will always be there in our subconscious. And we know we're a wonderful person. And we know the amazing power we have to help
Yeah.
other women. But it can still be a big struggle for us to believe
Yeah.
ourselves. And it's in our subconscious, and it's a conscious emotion that we need to be aware of. So when we're not believing ourselves, and when I'm not believing myself, when I'm doubting myself, because it is there, right? It'll never go away. It's just a part of me. So, way I've hit up that biggest challenge is when I feel that self-doubt, when I stop believing myself, I take a moment. Okay. However, then I change, I shift. I say,
Yeah.
no, I know what I'm doing is powerful in helping other women.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
know I am an amazing person, not only to other people, but for myself. So do you find as well that it'll always be there? And, and people come up to me like, oh my gosh, you're always so happy and you're empowering and you're positive. And no, I'm actually
Yeah, I
naturally
know.
an introvert, and I work on this myself, and my own journey, my own story is what helps me to help other women.
Yeah, I absolutely, I can totally
Yeah.
relate, because I work with the subconscious mind with,
Yeah.
with people. And it's all about, for myself, basically rewiring my own mind and bringing it back to consciousness, which is the
Yeah.
knowing.
Yeah.
Because knowing consciously, we know, but we need to rewire the pattern. I mean, we need to work on this and change the pattern. But sometimes, due to our history, as you said, our trauma, there is a little bit again of unhealed emotions. Something comes up and creeps in
Yeah.
when you sometimes least expect it. So it is really about bringing myself to, I know who I
Yeah.
am. I know
Yeah.
my self-worth and my worthiness. I think
Yeah.
the worthiness part is very important as well, because self-love, self-care, and worthiness. This is all about, I know I deserve to be happy, to have, to be happy, to have a happy relationship, a happy life. And it's really bringing ourselves back from that subconscious pattern and thinking,
Yeah.
rewiring this to bring it back into consciousness, into the knowing. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a mental exercise we do, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So true, right? So true. I mean, we all go through similar struggles, and nobody, I don't like the word perfect, but none of us are not struggling in some way. And I think that's an important message, and what we're sharing, that people think they're the only ones struggling, or they see someone else and, oh, they have this perfect world. And there's like, no,
Mm.
perfect doesn't exist. So we are all struggling in our own way. And, with that brings me to this negativity that so many people have been facing for a long time, but specifically, I'll say over the last, 2-3 years. And when you see those negative people around you, or the environment around you is feeling negative, what helps you to stay positive and feel uplifted?
Well, I have a few tips and tricks. So first of all, I don't watch the news. I don't look at the news. So
Yeah.
it's not
I
it's
agree.
not me. I just not
Yeah.
me. And I read a lot. I meditate a lot due to also my spiritual work.
Yeah.
And what helps me keep positive is, very often when people talk to me about something that happened, I don't even know what they're talking about. So my mind already is gone onto the
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. Oh,
So really, it's part again of what I call the self-care toolkit. I mean, I'm passionate about the law of attraction as well, and you cannot, you have to, we have to train ourselves. It's actually, I use the word train ourselves to feel good. It is a training, because sometimes, of course, we have a rough day, we have a bad day, we can't always feel good and on top of the world. Exactly what you said, Tanya. People have that sometimes. I have the comment as well. Oh, Nadia is so confident. You're always smiling. But we have this inner turmoil as well. There is this emotional turmoil inside sometimes, but it is part of that self-care toolkit. Yeah, no news for me. And really, I'm training myself to feel good. And sometimes I'll do exercise on the mirror, really training myself to smile and laugh, even if something bad happens. And then after a few seconds, well, you feel good because it's actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's so true. And I find you don't get drawn into that negative conversation, right? When I hear someone talking, I'm not really hearing it either. And another thing is I do not add to the conversation. Like I will just not say a word. I will just, and then depending on situation, I'll even say, okay, this conversation needs to be done. We are here to celebrate this and not to talk about this. So yeah, exactly. But that's again, that can be a whole different conversation. So Nadia, I'm going to ask you 3 last questions here, and we're going to learn a little bit more about you. So we've learned a lot, and we've talked about things that will help you, and I know we're going to help other women about that. So we all have quotes that we tend to love and kind of live by. So what is a quote that resonates with you, Nadia?
No, that's an easy one for me because I always use the same one because I just love it.
Yeah.
It's the one from Martin Luther King Jr. that Oprah Winfrey used a lot, which is, not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great because greatness is determined by service. And to me, I've always lived by that quote all my life with, how can I be of service? Is start by being of service. And that's really something that sticks with me wherever I go. Wherever I go, it's just my go-to quote. Yeah. Nice. Whatever I do, how can I be of service to someone? Whatever it is.
Yeah, very nice. What about advice? What's the number one advice you want to share with our listeners today?
Well, it's realizing how precious and short life is, and just go within, ask yourself, step back from everything, realize how life, short and precious life is, step back, go within, and really, really understand what lets what lets your soul on fire, what do you want to do? Because again, self-love and self-care are all, they all link to what do I allow myself to love? Do I allow myself to do what I really want to do? And this is to me as the biggest, actually, I think the biggest thing you can do, to prove that you're loving yourself. Go for what, makes your heart sing, basically.
So true, right? I always say it's giving yourself the ability to give yourself permission to make the choice, right? Yeah. Not what other people you think you should do. It's what do I need to do for myself? What am I going to give myself permission to choose that I know is going to inspire me, uplift me, harness my self-love and my self-worth? So last question. And I always say to, my women guests is you cannot include family because family are so important to us. So you cannot include family as your answer in this last question. But Nadia, if today was the last day of your life, what is one thing that you would be grateful for?
To have actually lived an authentic life, to have lived the life that I was always supposed to live. So that's really basically it, as an authentic life, not that imposter life that I lived for half of my life already.
Yeah. Oh, very, very nice. Love it, love it, love it. So Nadia, I want to thank you very much for sharing your wisdom, for having this beautiful conversation, for sharing your journey as well, because we can never hear enough from other women, and knowing that it is a journey of life, it is a journey of choosing to do, it is a journey of giving yourself permission, of finding what's going to work for you to love who you are and empower yourself and to share that knowledge with the whole world. I thank you very much. And for everyone listening, thank you again for being here, for listening to another Mindful Conversation podcast. I'm Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, your host. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Remember, as we're ending this podcast and you go to bed tonight, think about the best thing that ever that happened. And when you wake up in the morning, feel and send out what you
Yeah.
are grateful for. Enjoy
Thank
the
you very
rest of your
much,
day,
Tanya.
everyone. Take care, Nadia.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much, everybody. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.